140 for the rubber. The world turned its back on me. I'm a cripple. We got soldiers, he got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out, I tell you once. Don't pray for nothing, send a curse. We can't forgive us for business. Remain in them trenches. Trust in the Lord, but please forgive me for the times that I did. If rankings give me, have your respect to your apprentice. Be about your business. This loyalty's a death sentence. Look, trying to pick up with a blind field. They said there'll be many mansions. I'm just grinding for my time share. The devils ain't playing fair. They hunt you like bad pal, but ain't no getting out the game like Jumanji. You take that oath, it's a Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece, so you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times and his death do us part. No. So how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't the life you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people go disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name. Now you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like George Jetson. Murder for capital, now it's murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement, we like fuck 'em, raise it. I pity those watching life as it go by. Be giving mercy in this life, I don't know why. In puff smoke, never try to. The dead at home, my brother be the dead, it's all I know. Either photo, salute my nigga. They like, how you stay focused? I told them I'm motivated cause of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons, still got weapons on the scene. Now I never do my niggas like Bishop did Raheem. Never mind in all beliefs, they under anesthesia. Shorty said she need me, said she wanna let that love go. Told I let that love grow. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood oath. So, how you feel about this truth I done shown? This ain't the life you think, little nigga. I should want. Even your own people gon' disown. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Yeah.
This pressure that comes with the block, you could end up inside of a box when you get your knob buzzed by a op after getting set up by a thought. Opportunity, it doesn't knock. No, that sound right there be the cops. Yep. And all of that stress that we talking still beats punching the clock. You think I wanna sweep your floor from 8 to 4? Fuck, I wanna take your orders for when your favorite star got an Audemars that's worth more than mama's car. Type of shit make you wanna say fuck the law. When your rent's due and your piss poor, nigga, we don't even own our own corner store. So quarter waters cost a quarter more, huh? Wanna be an entrepreneur? We want sign checks. We want work for ourselves. We want own the nets. You're too much of a threat when you're on your own assets. So the only thing they show us is how to be an outlet. So we won't connect. They say hi like hola. Listen to Hova. Whip up a Rover. Been watching Power. Tommy and Ghost, bruh. So I need some powder. Fish scale and soda for 99 cents.
It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, oh, make it make sense, yeah. You see, the money is a motive. Repeat my history, crack cocaine is like the motif. It's plain and simple, way back then my mother hustled. It's in my blood, so I feel like it's time to grind. Just like the times when niggas lied. Hold up, back then was the bad days. Motherfuckers push mad weight, I was a crack baby. Tell me nothing about my mother and the struggle. See, I love you, then it's fucking trying to smoke when she hustle. Selling everything in the house, goddamn. She ain't give a damn about a spouse, goddamn. So my oldest brother had to man up, had to take care of us and the pigs with 4 kids. The one on the way with no clip, no food in the fridge, on some post shit. Got food stamps from the neighbors. Ty worth ain't ask no favors. Late night he was shot bodegas. Loaf of bread and some meat, some mayo. Kool-Aid had about 4 flavors. And when time went to cash out, Aki lashed out. Told him he'd take food stamps. $15 for that kid, fuck all that shit. Then the young nigga noticed that it could be the coldest. Take back what they hold us, whole world on the shoulders. No food in the kitchen but the stove work. $10 in the sack and he points to the back, say, let me get that soda. 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. It's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, Lord, make it make sense. Yeah.
So let me get this shit straight. So I gotta go take out loans to go to school, to get a job, just to pay for the loans I took out in the first place. I'm looking at this arm and hammer like I should have a hammer in my arm right goddamn now. Shit ain't make no sense. Lord, make it make sense. Goddamn.
Baking soda's only 99 cents. Hey, it's hard to repent when you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, no, make it make sense. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Hard to repent, you gotta pay rent. Baking soda's only 99 cents. Make it make sense, no, make it make sense.
All right, Shalom. All right. Check. All right, there we go. All right, Shalom Israel. We got an ISUPK started on 1 West 125th Street. This is Sharp in the Store Radio. Right now, I'm Officer Kabal Qatar, filling in until he get here for Captain DeGaulle Gabar. All right, we're located here, 5261 Delmar Boulevard. Now, quick couple announcements before we get this show started. All right, we have classes right here, 5261 Delmar Boulevard, Suite A, St. Louis, Missouri, 63108. All right. And we have classes every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday night, starting at 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. And our Sabbath service is on Saturday, of course, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. We have call-in numbers for the classes. It's the first call-in number is 712-832-8330, and the second one is 425-436-6260. The PIN for both of those is 825-1636. All right, coming up this. All right, Slocky. Having a couple issues with the microphones. See if that one better. All right, there we go. That should be better. Yeah, there we go. All right, this and every Sunday. Right now, you're tuned in to Sharp in the Sword Radio. We had this radio show every Sunday from 11 p.m. to 1 p.m. Central Standard Time. Today's show has a call-in number, 712-832-8330. And the access pin for today's show is 910-1409. All right. Coming up this Friday, the 27th, Commander General Yohana's doing it again, right? Sending another 10 to 14,000 pounds of food to the city of St. Louis, right? And this has been going on the entirety of the pandemic, right? Like, when everybody else would step back and everybody else went and found a reason to go hide and to contain themselves with just their family, when you're supposed to be servants of the Lord, when you're supposed to serve the people of the Lord, right? The ISUPK actually, under Commander General Yohana has definitely stepped it up, right? We've found ways to do more programs and take care of more people, right? And it's truly amazing just to sit there and talk and see, the things that people have been going through. Because what happens is we tend to get stuck in our little bubble, right? And only deal with the people that we know. So we don't really know every situation or other people's situations out there. And like, since this virus is hit, man, like they said they still haven't gotten the unemployment rates back down, right? It's still people out here struggling just to find a way to feed themselves. And then they had the threat of that the moratorium ending and it being evictions. It's like it. Yeah, sorry about that. But it's still drastically bad out here, right? People still they cutting off unemployment, right? Cutting food stamps. People losing their jobs. Like, it's harder out here to even find a way to feed your children, right? And in the ISUPK, we don't just talk about what needs to be done to fix the community. We don't just talk about the solutions, right? We live the solutions, right? So that's why Commander General Yohana has definitely stepped up here and having bigger and more food and clothing drives. All right, like I said, we feed thousands of people because of what Commander General Yohana has put in place here in St. Louis. All right. Let's see what we got online. See if there's any questions before we get started. Let's see. Check the. All right. Let's go ahead and hop into the first article. I said, a doomsday COVID variant worse than Delta and Lambda may be coming, scientists say. See, just when you thought, you might have someone seen the light at the end of the tunnel, and just as the kids is going right back to school, it's a more virulent, worse version of the coronavirus coming out that shut down schools last time. And this should show you exactly who your oppressor is and how your enemy thinks, right? If you were to quarantine and give out, do a sufficient quarantine and do a sufficient shutdown, our oppressor is worried about money. They're worried about, making a profit and losing business. When the lockdown in America, as most people know, it was not a lockdown. It was a pitiful excuse for one, right? I for one, because of the type of work I did, I was out every day. I don't think there was a day I really stayed in. And everything that was going on, everything that was open, during a pandemic, and you're supposed to close down because people could die. McDonald's was still essential, right? Burger King, that was still essential. Now the economy in this country is so powerful that they could have easily shut down all of those jobs, right? Paid each worker everything they would have earned throughout the entire time they were shut down, and the economy would have barely taken a little notch, right? It just shows that our oppressor is only cared about profit, right? That was the biggest thing they were screaming about when it was during the shutdown is, I'll lose my business. The government could have floated it, but again, we still have a government that is corrupt and is all about making money, right? So it's not about actually taking care of the people. It's not about actually, doing what's best for the country. It's doing what's best for their donors, right? So let's get more into this article. Scientists keep underestimating the coronavirus. In the beginning of the pandemic, they said mutated versions wouldn't be much of a problem until the more infectious alpha caused a spike last fall. Then beta made young people sicker, and gamma reinfected those who already recovered from COVID-19. Still, by March, as the winter surge in the U.S. receded, some epidemiologists were cautiously optimistic that the rapid vaccine rollout would soon tame the variants and cause the pandemic to wind down. So, at one point, that's why kids really didn't have to wear a mask. They didn't really make vaccines for kids because it wasn't really infecting children, right? But now through the different variants, right, the alpha, the beta, the gamma, and they didn't really tell us about those variants too much because the gamma basically it had a specific target, those who had already been infected, right? And then the beta, most of the schools and things were shut down by this point. Slovakia. So it wasn't really as widely spread. So people thought that that it would be quelled by the time that schools opened back up and people started to recirculate. But again, this is a plague from the Most High God, right? Everything, like it said in this article, they continue to underestimate it. They think like it's a disease that just jumped from the pangolin to the person, and then that's where this is coming from. No, this is sent from the Most High God. Like that may be the vehicle, the method he used to get it here, but that he created this. This wasn't created in the lab. This wasn't. This is not a man-made disease, as a lot of people are trying to say out there. This is a plague sent from the Most High God, and it's going to accomplish what it was sent here to accomplish. All right, let's keep reading. Delta has now shattered optimism. This variant, first identified in India in December, spreads faster than any previous variant of SARS-CoV-2, as the COVID-19 virus is officially named. Right, so again, all right, people. This is why, this is actually one of the reasons why it was easier to develop a vaccine for it, because it is a version of the SARS disease, right? Coronavirus is a blanket term. COVID-19 was just it wasn't the scientific term, but it was the quickest term they could come out with because they weren't sure exactly if it was a version of SARS or MERS or different other types of diseases from that area, right? But again, once they realized what it was easier to develop a vaccine, and they thought that would slow it down. But the vaccine, it's not working the way they thought it would. Because again, this is from the Most High God. This is because he said he would do it, right? And it's time for us as a people to start understanding what's going on around us, right? To start seeing what these things are for what they are, and that's and that's a signs from the Most High God that we need to go ahead and get our act together. We need to get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments because it's time for Him to destroy this place and to bring in the kingdom of the Most High God, to bring in Christ's kingdom, right? And we need to see this as what it is. This isn't something that is just going to go away. And what I mean by that is, the coronavirus may fade out soon. It may fade out in years. But what I'm saying is these things are not going to stop, right? This is just the beginning. Right? You think it's bad. It's not bad. It's not bad yet. Right? Let's keep reading. Let's see. It's driving up infection rates in every state. In every state of the U.S. Like there is nowhere safe, right? The infection rates are going up in every state. So what that means is in states where you got 80% of the population vaccinated, the numbers are going up. When you got 30% of the population vaccinated, the numbers are going up. The numbers are going up because this is not a disease that they're used to seeing, that they understand what's going on, because this is what they would call a biblical plague, right? You don't think Egypt had its scientists that tried to explain what was going on to them from when it was sent by the Most High God? They did. They had their scientists, their astronomers, their magicians, and all of them thought they could understand why it was happening. All of them thought they could understand how to fix it on their own. And that was one of the reasons why how the Pharaoh was able to keep his people as calm, right? Because if you have no explanation for this, your people will revolt against you, right? Well, if you have no explanation for why the river turned to blood, you have to have somebody there to be able to explain it to your people to not revolt against you, right? So that's exactly the same thing going on with the modern scientists. Because honestly, they're coming close, but they don't really know what they're dealing with. That's why it says they underestimate it. They underestimate it because they don't know what it is, right? Let's keep going. Is driving up infection rates in every state of the U.S., prompting Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, to once again recommend universal mask wearing. The Delta outbreak is going to get much worse, warns Michael Ostrom, an epidemiologist who studies. Who is the lead? Who leads the Center for Infectious Diseases Research and Policy at the University of Minnesota. Quote, the number of intensive care beds needed could be higher than any time we've seen. See, he says, the coronavirus isn't going anywhere. It's getting worse, right? And the only reason we're not we're not experiencing it the way that we did before is because the government who's in place now has a much better policies and practices when it comes to controlling how information gets distributed, right? How you see the news, right? Trump, that was one of the things where I said I liked having Trump in office because first off, he didn't care that you knew that he didn't like you. These people hide it. They feel the same way. They just hide it. right? And so Trump wasn't that polished. So when the virus came out, him not being that polished, him not knowing how to talk in a way as deceptively as other politicians, like you pretty much saw exactly the reaction he should have had. First off, because he's ignorant, he didn't react quick enough. Second, when he did it, he reacted unintelligently, right? We saw what worked in other countries and what got their numbers down, but here that did not happen. Right now, we are blind to the effects that are even going on. Here at the ISUPK, we've been going over these articles. We've been saying since the beginning that this was a plague from the Most High God. And we've been going over these numbers since the beginning of this virus. And so that's why, here we ain't caught off guard, right? We knew this was going to get worse. And because we understand that this is from the Most High God, right? There's other people out here who are Christians and don't understand that the Most High God is coming to destroy this earth. They believe in the doctrine of our oppressor, that everything is just going to be lovely and beautiful, and then all the believers are going to disappear, and then all of a sudden everything's going to be just roses. No, this world is this empire first must fall, and this world is going to experience these plagues. It's going to experience like it says, obviously everybody knows about wars and rumors of wars, and we see what's going on in overseas right now. How the U.S. pulled out and just left all of those guns and weapons over there, and they know what they're gonna do with them. But the U.S. is unaware that in the upcoming war, those weapons will be used on the U.S. itself, right? Because these other nations are going to rise up against the United States. All right, let's keep reading. He adds that his team's analysis shows that almost every single one of the 100 million unvaccinated Americans who hasn't had COVID-19 yet will likely get it in the coming months, short of taking the sort of strong isolation and masking precautions that seem unlikely in the vaccine hesitant population. Now, see, what they worried about is they people, right? They're not worried about so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because that's the thing, we'll wear the mask. A lot of us just don't want to get the shot, right? And it's not forced on you. You don't necessarily have to. But, there's nothing wrong with getting it, right? But there are people who don't get it. They don't get it because they believe, first off, the COVID-19 is a hoax. So not only will they not get the vaccine, they're not going to wear a mask, right? They're not going to be socially distant. They're going to go have Christmas parties. They're going to go have indoor Labor Day parties. They're going to go have Thanksgiving. Why? Because they don't believe that there's a threat at all, even though everything shows the exact opposite, right? This disease is going nowhere, right? See if we got any left on this article. All right. The variant is so contagious that it's set to smash through every previous prediction of how soon the U.S. might reach herd immunity. So if you don't know what herd immunity is, it's basically once you have immunized enough people, right, then the need for the vaccine or the need for the immunization goes down because a certain percentage of the population now has those antibodies, right? Which means that it'll start to mitigate the virulency of a disease because it can't spread as rapidly, right? Because there are too many people who are immunized, right? So that's one of the ways they, get rid of diseases, like, and reduce the number, because they actually really haven't gotten rid of those diseases. Like smallpox is still here. It comes back. Polio is still here. It comes back. So if you don't keep taking those vaccines, the herd immunization effect will wear off, and there's not enough people immunized, and then it starts to spread again, right? But it's just there's so few cases and so many people are immunized that it's very unlikely that you'll see a large outbreak of polio, right? So that's what they're trying to get to for the coronavirus, but with the variants that keep coming out, they can't get to herd immunization, right? They can't get to herd immunity, and why is that? Because the Most High does not want these people to be invulnerable to this disease, right? It's meant to cleanse the earth, right? The Most High sent it to kill, right? And it's for us to realize the signs of the time. It's for us to realize what's going on, so that way we get right with our people and we get right with our God. All right, let's keep going. Quote, "We've failed to shut this down as we have with other pandemics," says Jonathan Eisen, a biologist at the University of California, Davis, who studies how pathogens evolve. Quote, "It may be around forevermore, leaving us continually trying to figure out what to do next." See, they are at the point where where the scientists are saying, "Yeah, no, this we thought we could get rid of this. This is not going anywhere. This is not going away. This may be around forever," right? Like, and again, that's because this is the work of the Most High God, right? He's doing this, right? This is what He's doing, and so they're starting to realize, yeah, our best efforts may never be good enough to deal with this problem, right? All right, let's keep looking. Let's see. Delta, like most of the other variants, blindsided us, worsening and extending the pandemic. When the damage from Delta starts to subside, what other variants will be lurking behind it just to pull us back again? The World Health Organization is already keeping an eye on several. See, Delta is the last variant they told you about, right? There are several more variants after Delta already out there. Delta would be the fourth variant, right? Let's listen to, and that's so you've been told about 4 variants. Let's see how many other variants there are, right? Eta, which is in several countries. Kappa, which arose in India. Iota, which popped up in New York City. And especially Lambda, which has torn through Peru and shows signs of having unusual success in infecting fully vaccinated people. According to one early study, it has already spread to Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, and as well as Texas and South Carolina. See, they're already on the Lambda variant, right? You thought Delta was bad. You thought 4 variants was bad, right? Those are the ones that they mentioned. Lambda. Okay, so for anybody who doesn't know, they are giving these variants names which are Greek letters, right? Lambda is the 11th letter. Delta is the 4th letter. Lambda is the 11th letter. There are 11 variants that they know about, right? And they still can't stop none of them. And the ones that they thought they stopped, the ones that they thought they had you immunized against and protected against, these new variants are reactivating them. They're bypassing the What's good, Cap? Okay. You ready to take over? Okay. Well, yeah, this Lambda version, which is the 11th version of the coronavirus, they're starting to reactivate viruses that they thought they had already beaten. Right? It says even if you're fully vaccinated against alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and all of this, and then you still go and you think you're fine. Well, guess what? This epsilon variant is about to come behind you, reactivate that. It's going to bypass your vaccine, and you still getting it. Right? And like I said earlier, gamma, it was only for people who had already had the coronavirus, and then it reinfected them. It was a whole strain, a separate strain, just to reinfect you. Right? This is why we say this is from the Most High God, and there's nothing that these scientists can do to stop it. Right? The only way you can stop it is to get right with the Most High God, and that's to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Because this is Rome. This is Egypt. And just like Egypt, it will be wiped out with plagues before the enemies storm the gates. All right? That's exactly how Egypt fell. First, what we see, first what we see is how Egypt and Rome fell, right? They were both diseased, right? They were both surrounded by their enemies, right? Which they had formerly subjugated, right? When the Most High took out Pharaoh's army after he chased us, you think that the enemies of Pharaoh didn't see that? That wasn't the end of it. He plagued them with diseases, and then their enemies came in and destroyed them. Rome, they started being plagued with diseases and corruption, just like Egypt, just like America. Right? And then disease came, which weakened their forces, right? And then those that were former allies turned against them and destroyed their country. That happened then is happening right now. There is no peace talks that are going to take care of this. There's no new health standard that they're going to come out with that's going to fix this, right? Because this is sent directly from the Most High God. And you see the scientists who are on the cutting edge of this, who know every single thing about this, are saying, yeah, this will be with us, quote, forevermore. Right? So they gotten over this grandiose thought of, oh, we can just stop what the Most High God sent here. No, it will come and do exactly what the Most High God set it here for. All right, let's keep reading. What's that? It's too soon to say whether Lambda will turn out to be the next big bad thing that COVID-19 unleashes on us, but it's a good time to wonder just how destructive these variants can get. And will future variants expand on the attack from the lung to the brain, the heart, and other organs? See, they understand that they don't know anything about this. You think this was created in the lab? You think a man made this? No, this is sent by the Most High God. When they categorize a disease, right? It attacks what it attacks. It attacks it in the way that it attacks it. This disease, they are not even close to understanding what it does or how it does it. So there's no way they can stop it. Right? Let's see. Will it Will they take a page from HIV and trick people into thinking they recover only to make them sick later? See, again, these are scientists writing out their concerns, and they are even saying this disease is intelligent enough to trick people. But you know, you listen to the people in the so-called conscious community, right? And they say this was man-made. It's man-made, but it tricks people in sciences. It tricks doctors who study this, right? No, this is from the Most High God. And the only way, black man, black woman, black child, for you to be safe from this is by you following the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High God. You got to get in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana. That's the only way to protect yourself from this. Because the scientists are telling you right now, we don't know what we are into. We don't know what's going on, right? It's kind of a kind. Yeah. Officer Cornaya, he says, quote, there's also a whole new virus that has nothing to do with COVID-19. You're right, I don't want to see. That's the thing. They flood the news with the information they want you to know. They flood it with that, and then you don't hear what's going on in the background, right? Like the assassination of the Haitian president, right? That should have been much larger world news. They pushed it to the back because that's not something they want you to look at. That's not something they want you to focus on, right? COVID-19, they think that they're thinking that they have some sort of answer, some sort of solution for this. So that's why they want you to focus on this. That new virus, they don't even know what to do with that yet. It's like that's why I was talking about why. You know, I liked it when Trump was in office so much because he was too ham-fisted to be able to hide anything well. That's why COVID-19 and all the news about it got out so bad, so quickly, and everybody panicked. The Democrats and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they're much better at lying to you and deceiving you and showing you what they want you to see while you don't see everything else going on, right? So, you know, there's a couple new diseases out there, and that's the thing. They can't wrap their mind around this one. So, of course, they don't want you to know too much about that one. Because that's when you start to see people rise up against this government, against any government. When the government shows that it can no longer lead, history shows us that the people overthrow that government, right? And they understand that, you know, the children of the Most High God are coming back to their laws in ways that we never have, right? We're coming back to the law, statutes, commandments. We're people, our people are leaving their Christian church at a faster rate than anyone ever believed would be possible, right? Because at the end of the day, we were always Christians, right? Whether we went into Islam, we still kept our Christianity. Whether we went into Buddhism, we kept our Christianity, right? But now they're leaving and rejecting all of that, right? More people are waking up to the lies of our oppressor, which also leads them to start coming into the ISUPK and start looking to find out who they actually are. They stop believing their oppressors, stop believing that they so-called African Americans, that they're so-called Indians or Native Americans or so-called Mexicans, right? They're starting to understand that they're Issachar, that they're Gad, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, right? They're starting to realize who they are, and the Most High is sending diseases and not just COVID-19 and not just these diseases. You know what I mean? He's burning half the country every 2 seconds. Right? The wildfires are getting larger. It's like this one went more unreported, right? The first time in history, snow reached the North Pole. It didn't get too many reports because there was so many fires in Siberia that the smoke from the fires actually reached the North Pole. Siberia is a frozen tundra. They had wildfires spreading across millions of acres, right? You know how difficult that is. That's something that's never been done before. But right now, while the coronavirus is going around, while these new viruses are popping up, the earth is burning, right? Because the Most High God is getting close to the time where He's sending Christ back to save His children out of their captivity. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Is there a doomsday variant out there that shrugs off vaccines and spreads like wildfire and leaves more victims much sicker than anything we've seen yet? The odds are not high that we will see such a triple threat, but experts can't rule it out. See, that's the thing. They every time they came up with the odds of what COVID-19 would do, they were wrong. Every time. And so they have to ask this question, well, is it possible it could do this? Yes, it's very possible. And why is that? Because the Most High God is sending things that we have never seen before in this earth. Yes, it looks like a variant of SARS, but it is not. It cannot be dealt with the way SARS was dealt with. That's why it's a variant, right? It's not the same. It looks like it. I mean, we could put it close to this, and it's in this family, but that's the best we can identify it as. All right, let's see what else we got. Any more on this article? So I can give me one moment for this article to load up. Yeah, see, this is why we need our people, you know what I mean, to start following the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High God. Because this science only understands so much, right? Because for science to understand something, right, it has to see it, study it, break it down, reconstruct it, test it multiple times, just to come to a consensus, right? So when you have things like the coronavirus, which they have never seen before, these new viruses that are in Earth, which they have never seen before, that act like something they never dealt with before, they have no way to they have no way to understand it. Right? It has to kill. It has to kill a certain amount of you first before they can even start to understand it. Right? So because it has to kill a certain amount, it has to be here a certain amount of time. See, they don't understand how coronavirus acts after 5 years because they've never seen what coronavirus does after 5 years. They can't. Their process makes it so they're unable to deal with what we're dealing with now. Why does it keep going back to this? Huh? Okay. All right, let's just read the title of this one real quick since we close to the time. All right. This is from the New York Times. You know, of course, you can. That's why we quote the sources of our article, so you can go ahead and check and see that this ain't stuff we just making up, right? You'll hear the priests and the prophets of the Most High God saying these things, but we want to show you where the scientists go and do the research and find out that what the Most High God has revealed and shown to Commander General Yohana, and that he's taught to his generals, his captains, and his officers, even on down to the troopers and the young men, right? It's before the scientists ever say it, and it's always true, right? The Delta variant is sending more children to the hospital. And this is from the New York Times, right? At first, they thought they were safe from the Delta variant. They said they were safe from the Alpha variant. The Beta variant kind of started to infect children, were more likely to infect children with the Beta variant. And the Gamma variant didn't really deal with anybody who already wasn't infected. Right, the Delta variant was the one that was spreading so much faster. The Delta variant was still only dealing with adults, though. Right, it still wasn't the Beta variant. Now the Delta variant is starting to send more children to the hospital. Right, and then again, your oppressor doesn't really care about you. Right, that's why he's willing to have the schools open right now. While we see that every variant is flaring up, that these variants are messing with these children more, and there are teachers out there who are afraid to go to work because of the transparency of the school district, right? Because somebody will be sick, it'll be reported. They would have been at the school, and the schools won't say anything because they're afraid of losing that money, right? They're more worried and concerned about the money than they are about the health of you and your family, right? So we see that all of this stuff is flaring back up, and again, the only way, to be safe in this eye of the storm is to follow the law, statutes, commandments, right? And that the only place you can learn how to do that is right here in the ISUPK under Commander General Yohana, where since 1969 they've been teaching our people how to get back to our God. They've been teaching our people how to get back to our culture and how to, as the scriptures say, not be partakers in the plagues of this place. Paraphrasing, of course, but we see these plagues are here and running rampant, right? To avoid that, you must come out of her, my people. You must leave her Christmas alone, right? You must not celebrate her Valentine's Day. Don't be wicked and evil yourself and celebrate your birthday like they want you to, right? Because that all makes you an enemy of our Father, an enemy of our God, right? And that keeps us in this situation and with them while they're going through their plagues, and we get just as affected. We get affected more than they do because we're the ones that are being disobedient to our Father, right? And since we close to the time with that, Shalom, Israel.